Hi guys, and welcome to my review of season 2 of Cobra Kai. Man, this is definitely an explosive season, especially by the end. Jesus. Kind of an extra thing to say, but yeah. It was definitely crazy at the end, man. Damn. And I can't imagine how season 3 is gonna be, since I'm kind of caught up to the, recent season that came out on my birthday. And I'm gonna watch, part 3 again of the, Karate Kid series before, I start season 3, which I guess I could watch that tomorrow and review it, but I'll see. But yeah, I don't even know where to start with this. But yeah, I'm gonna try and make this review like 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, not like a long review like the first one. But man, that was a good first season, so it was hard to not make that a long review. I was kind of surprised how good it actually was. But yeah, in the season we don't really have the All Valley tournament, so they kind of replaced that with like a huge school fight, which I can't to talk about that. We kind of get some evolution with Hawk, which I don't know what some people think of him, but I definitely don't really like what they did with Hawk. How they just made him like this mega bully, kind of like Daniel but worse. Then Samantha, like having a love triangle with, because Samantha gets close with Robbie, and then that kind of makes things complicated with Miguel since they kind of break up at the end of season 1. And I say kind of because she still has feelings for him. It didn't really like proper separate. Like she was still thinking about him really. Miguel, like same. Even when he meets this new girl, Tori, which man, that character. Yeah, she kind of. Well, I don't know if I should say this because I need to rewatch Karate Kid Part 3 because I can't really remember you know Daniel Russo's girlfriend in that movie that well. I can't remember what kind of character she was, and I don't know if she was like a good influence. I mean, influence, sorry, for Daniel, since Daniel, which he actually, because Daniel actually says that he joined Cobra Kai, back in the day, which was back in Karate Kid Part 3, where you actually see Daniel join Cobra Kai because Mr. Miyagi didn't want him to keep going into tournaments, but that's something that Daniel wanted, so he basically left his master and went to Cobra Kai, which is kind of messed up if you think about that, and that's one of the big reasons why I'm not really a big fan of Part 3. It's still a good movie and it kind of brings tournaments back because Part 2 didn't really have that, but I still enjoy that movie. But I still enjoy the second one more than the third one now because they basically make Daniel a bully in that movie. So like he is turning into a bully. He does realize when he gets to that point. But I'm just gonna leave that for Part 3 review because basically after what happened at the end of season 1, Cobra Kai was on top again, and John Kreeves comes back, which John is just surprised to see him again, and like he's gonna even give him a chance. Like he obviously tells him to go away. He does try to hear him out, but then he just doesn't really want him around. And then John just kind of tells like a sub story because basically at first he said like he was like in the army and stuff, like he was doing a lot of traveling, and then a lot of that was kind of lies, and he basically reveals that to to Johnny to show some you know make Johnny feel sorry for him, basically. How he was just cooped up in these dead in apartments and stuff, wasn't really doing much of his life. So then Johnny feels sorry for him and then lets him in, but then it's kind of obvious before John even makes that smile that he's trying to get Cobra Kai back. Like it was pretty obvious he had a plan, and it actually works out by the end. He actually gets Cobra Kai back fully, and basically all the students that he gains in this season, like they all betray him, which is kind of messed up. If Miguel was there, like I don't think he'd ever betray him, especially with how they built up their relationship in season 1. Which, oh yeah, Miguel, what happens? I'm gonna save that for the school fight though. I'm not gonna talk about that yet. All right, so what else should I talk about? I guess I'll talk about Hawk. Yeah, Hawk. Like he seemed like he was a cool character in season 1. How he started off as kind of a geeky kid, and then with the messed up lip, and then he started to evolve into this badass. Like he was definitely, I can definitely see why he was a fan favorite, but I wasn't fully invested into him yet. And then going into season 2, someone who's watched the second season, like a family member, they said that he gets really good in that season. And then when I finally watch it, I'm like, damn, he's kind of he's turned into an asshole. I have to say it. Yeah, he's turned into like a bully basically. The people that used to bully him, he's kind of become them, which kind of sucks to see. So I'm not really a fan of that transformation, and it definitely crosses the line when basically there's a scene where because basically Hawk's friend, that geeky guy who kind of talks a lot about stuff, geeky stuff. But some of the things he talks about, I'm kind of into, like Doctor Who. So yeah, because it's just crazy that I actually like his character more in this season than Hawk, which is kind of weird to say that when he joins, Miyagi Dojo, because the way how Cobra Kai teaches him, because he kind of gives Cobra Kai like a chance. Then when Kreeves is there, because like basically Johnny kind of makes his old master and the person who originally won the dojo like kind of like part in charge, not fully though. But basically he kind of has a bit of control when he's not around, and basically Kreeves like wrecked him, so that kind of made Hawk's friend not happy with Cobra Kai, and he went to Miyagi Dojo since Daniel Lewis was trying to set up his dojo, but he doesn't really have as much students. He just has like two pupils. So yeah, oh yeah, Daniel. I can't, because at the beginning I'm kind of more rooting for Daniel, especially when it gets to that scene when Hawk steals one of Mr. Miyagi's medals. Like that was the point where I'm just like, he's my least favorite character. I wasn't thinking that Hawk would ever be my least favorite character, but man, what a change. I'll definitely say he's a badass. I do like his fighting style. Like he's definitely cool in that department, but as a character, I don't like him now. I don't know if they'll redeem him in season 3, but he's kind of fully on the bad guy side now, especially by the end, which I'll get to. So yeah, like when he did that, man, like that's just crossing the line. Just because one of his friends kind of went to Miyagi Dojo, he wanted to get revenge, like payback, because like his friend kind of writes a bad review of Cobra Kai. Yeah, and it seems like he has a hard time kind of learning to fight as well. Hawk's friend. But he eventually gets there by the end of the season, like the last episode, because Daniel kind of teaches him that technique, the wax on, wax off, but it takes him a long time to actually perfect it, because he's kind of someone that expects the worst out of situations, because he's never really ever been a fighter. But it's not until the end where we actually see him, kick Hawk's ass, which, wow. Out of everyone, I wouldn't think he'd ever kick, Hawk's ass. Well, I'd say that he gets a lucky kick. Yeah. So basically, I'm going to talk about Johnny and what he's trying to do. So he's basically trying to make a better Cobra Kai, because even though he won the All Valley tournament, he still doesn't really like how, he's kind of repeating the past in a way, since they don't really show mercy in that tournament. Because I was thinking like Miguel was going to be just like Johnny, but imagine if Johnny won it, in the first Karate Kid, kind of like how, Rocky Balboa didn't win in the first movie. Yeah, like Johnny would have become more cocky and dangerous. Cobra Kai would have been on top, and Daniel definitely wouldn't have let that go. I can kind of tell what where Daniel was coming from, how that would have turned out. Yeah, but yeah, Johnny just doesn't want to, even though he's happy that they won. It just maybe it's because also what happened with his son, and Miguel doesn't really know that's his son as well, Wobby, since that's who Miguel was fighting, and he wanted him to show mercy. And man, how that ties into the ending of this season too. Man, it's kind of the way how it connects, man. Jesus, because if you think about it, if how things go in season 1, they showed no mercy and they won. But then like, because in this season, Johnny tries to teach him to, not fully show mercy, but at least consider it, and that kind of backfires by the end, which is because Johnny tries to be the better person in the season. Daniel's just furious that Cobra Kai's making a comeback, with how they treated him. But yeah, because Daniel's trying to make his own dojo, so people don't join, Cobra Kai, Johnny's dojo. So they want to not like, like Johnny, because Daniel just thinks that he's just like his master from everything that he learned from him. He's probably still the same, like he hasn't changed. But yes, he's actually trying to do better. He's trying to fix his life because in season one, we could see that he struggled with the life that he had, and he kind of regrets a lot of things. He even gets to a point where he tries to contact Ali Mills. There's even a scene where he's actually talking to Daniel, which there's actually a few scenes like that, where we actually see Daniel and Johnny actually connecting with each other, even to the point where they're having a handshake with each other. Like, I never thought I'd ever see that. But hey, I never thought I'd see oh my god, a Lawrence and a Luso kissing, which, Samantha and Robbie get close in this season, which kind of, creates a love triangle. And I have to say, it kind of like a Walking Dead Lorry kind of style, especially with how things escalate at the end of the season. With how Lorry kind of had a relationship with Shane when Rick was, thought like he was dead. But then Rick comes back, and then she connects with Rick again, and then says Shane to go away and stuff, and don't be around Cal, and that just messes up Shane, and then things escalate, and Shane tries to kill Rick, and then Rick has to kill Shane. Like, that whole situation is kind of because of Laurie, and the way how things go with Samantha, yeah, with Miguel and Robbie. Oh, it gets messy, and I'm just kind of shocked how it ends. I'm kind of scared for this character as well, going into season 3. I don't know if I should talk about it now, because I just don't know if there's anything else I need to address. Because what else do I need to mention? Oh yeah, there's that guy. Is it Paul? Yeah, he's kind of a funny character who they introduce, because he's kind of like he's basically saw like this show. When the Miyagi Dojo was kind of showing like what skills they had, and they kind of reference a lot of stuff from the part 2, Karate Kid part 2. Some of the training items that Daniel shows Robbie, and those rules as well. Yeah, that was a cool callback. And yeah, the ice. Oh yeah, the ice. Because I remember that scene in the part 2. And basically Daniel's gonna break the ice to show off, but then Cobra Kai come out of nowhere and show a big show, because Miyagi's trying to not promote fighting. He's trying to promote skill. They didn't Cobra Kai just come out and you just see them all fighting each other, showing their karate skills, and then they kind of just steal the show, even though it was Miyagi Dojo's show. Yeah, it was just making Daniel mad each time. And then when it gets to the point where he sees John Kreeves return, yeah, Daniel's just had enough at that point. And when was it when... I can't remember, because it was in season 1 when Daniel found out about Wabi, but then he still gives him a chance. And he kind of finds out about... Oh yeah, because he does look after, Wabi. And then he gets to a point where... Because Wabi at this point is still living at home, even though his mum's not really around, because he's still seeing like other men. And then he gets to a point where, it just gets a bit sad for Wabi. Like, the electric goes out and everything. And then Daniel kind of sees how he's living. So then he looks after him. But then, Johnny doesn't know about this at all. But, Wabi doesn't want to be with his family. Wabi doesn't really want to be with his father. And when the mother finally comes back, she kind of blames herself for that. That they're not really like with each other. Because, the mother doesn't really like the father, but then it's kind of her fault for not wanting them to be around each other. She kind of put that on the son. So they never really connected. Even though, like, there was a time where the father just was a bad father anyway. And he kind of explains that as well. I can't remember who he explains it to again, though. Because there's an episode where his best friend, one of his old friends from Cobra Kai, has cancer, and we actually get to see the boys again. The boys are back in town. I had to say that. Yeah, the boys are back in town. Yeah, we get to see the old gang from the original movie. But one of them has cancer, but then they're trying to have like find a good day for him, and then he kind of teaches gives a few advice, to Johnny when he finds out that Cobra Kai is back, and because they've moved on with their lives, and knowing that Cobra Kai that possibly could have ruined their lives is back. Yeah, but, but I think he tries to explain that he's trying to make a better Cobra Kai and not be like John. And then his friend gives him some advice before he passes away. Tommy. Yeah, that was kind of a sad scene for Johnny. But while that's happening, John was actually kind of going against his back to take over, Cobra Kai dojo. But we don't really find out about that until the end. But yeah, like also John's been teaching him to truly have no mercy and certain skills and stuff like that, which kind of leads to Hawk going to the Miyagi dojo and trashing it. And it's not just because of his friend betraying him and going to Miyagi dojo. It's because just the way how John's been teaching some of them, and to how they all betray Johnny at the end. He basically gets kicked out of his dojo. Yeah, which sucks. All right, so what else? Oh yeah, I still like Aisha in the season. Like she was a cool character, basically Samantha's friend. I didn't really address her by name in the first season, but yeah, I still like her character. We actually get to see, I guess, Aisha more being friends with Samantha again, because it was getting to points where they wasn't really talking because she was kind of. See, the difference a bit the other way around, where the people who are the unpopular kids like Aisha, and Hawk, they kind of become like the popular kids in this season. But then the people who was with the popular kids, like Samantha, she kind of ends up like with no one really. And with how things ended with Miguel, like the only person that she had at that point was Wobby, and that's why they started to connect with each other. Well, she still had like a other friend who was with that girl who got the wedgie from Aisha, which that's still a funny scene. Yeah, I kind of also heard that Aisha's not going to be in season 3, which man, that sucks, man. I don't know if that's the case, but I'll see you soon when I start season 3. Because that would suck, man. I like her character, man. She deserves more screen time, man. She does get plenty of screen time, but she deserves way more, like like Miguel level. I feel like she should get like a proper storyline or something, like with a family or something. I feel like she deserves it. But I am looking forward to seeing is it Chosen, like the guy from part 2 who tried to kill Daniel. Like I can't to see what to do with him in season 3, because I know he's going to be in season 3. I don't know if he's going to have like a dojo and he's going to fight Miyagi dojo, but we'll see how that goes. Because well, I don't know if you guys already know this, so I'm not gonna say it then, because this is like a season 2 review, and I don't want to give possible spoilers for season 3. So yeah, because I kind of know some stuff. But yeah, because that's not a spoiler like about Trozen coming back. That's in the trailer anyway. So yeah. But what I was about to say would have been kind of a spoiler. But yeah. But yeah, there is moments where we see Daniel and Johnny kind of getting along, even though they're still kind of rivals. As things go on, and Daniel starts to understand that how Johnny's trying to make a better Cobra Kai and stuff. So they kind of have a mutual relationship. I don't know how to describe it. Just times where you think they'd start fighting each other or just insult each other. They kind of just get on, I guess. Also, there's kind of a moment where Miguel's mother kind of goes out with Johnny, because I guess this person who she was seeing, like, he wasn't really a good guy, and Johnny kind of confronts him because this guy was kind of basically seeing other girls along with Miguel's mother, which is kind of messed up. Yeah, so Johnny just confronted him and told him to stay away from her. And Johnny's kind of been having, well, I don't even want to dreams of Miguel's mother, and so he decides to make a move and follows one of his rules. Yeah, and actually goes out with Miguel's mother, and that's when he sees Daniel and stuff. But they somehow still get on with each other, even though they was kind of hostile at first. But then they actually shake hands and everything. They actually get on and laugh with each other. I never thought I'd see that, but like again, I never thought I'd see Samantha and Bobby kiss, which they're a part of different families. Kind of like, I'd say Samantha and Robert are basically like Romeo and Juliet, since and then like Daniel and Johnny are, well, Capulets and Montagues, basically. That's that whole situation basically, and how it can escalate. But yeah, I'm just gonna talk about it now. The final scene, the spoon fight. Because because it basically all starts with, so they go to a party, like Samantha goes to a party when I guess the parents go out, and that's like at the dinner time, when Daniel sees, Johnny, and they're kind of together with their girls, girls, their women, basically. And this is when a big, thing happens where Samantha basically goes out with Robbie to this party, and then kind of wants into Miguel. And I haven't really talked about Tori that much, but there's a thing. The thing is, I'm not really a big fan of her character anyway. But it was basically like the girl who was there to fill in, Samantha not being with Miguel, and she's kind of a bully anyway. And then things kind of escalate with that because I think she's working at this party as well as yeah as one of the people who get the drinks and stuff. But yeah, basically she doesn't really like Samantha because she used to be with Miguel, and basically Tori's just trying to steal Miguel from her, even though they did break up. But she could tell that they kind of still had a thing for each other, so she tried to get them away from each other. She even kisses Miguel in front of Samantha and stuff. I haven't really said what Robbie's been doing as well, like, because there's a moment where they're playing this game where they're going to the forest, and basically Miguel knows that well, I think it just shows it anyway. Like Hawk shows that he actually has Miyagi's medal, and Miguel goes after him and retrieves it. And there's also a funny scene with Paul because basically this game is where people have like a a black and red robe thing, and you're supposed to collect them all. I think was Miguel part of the red team or the black team? I think it was the black team. And he basically gets the medal back and returns it to them to Daniel. But Robbie's the one who answers the door. But then Robbie doesn't really tell that Miguel found it, so he kind of lied about that. But then he tells Samantha at the end. Yeah, I just don't know where their relationship is by the end anyway, with what Robbie does. But yeah, basically Tori sees Samantha and Miguel kissing, and that kind of makes a whole big situation at the end, since there's going to be a school fight, because Tori kind of sees them kissing. And when everyone goes back to school, Tori just kind of goes to the area where he does people talking, and she kind of calls out Samantha that she's coming for her, and then that's when the big fight happens. And like when when Tori gets to Samantha doesn't even know what to say at that point. Then Tori just starts fighting her, and then both Miguel and Robbie are just running towards them to stop them from fighting. But things just get crazy, man. And then Hawk and everyone comes, like basically all the Miyagi Dojo and Cobra Kai members come, and then they're all just getting a huge fight. You see Hawk just beating up everyone, and then because when Robbie gets to Samantha and Tori, she tries to Robbie tries to break him up, but then Miguel thinks that he's hurting Tori, so then he starts fighting him, and Robbie kind of hears that Samantha kissed Miguel, so who knows what he's feeling at that moment for what kind of happens at the at the escalation of the fight with Miguel. But yeah, we just see all the members fighting each other. I also kind of missed out one thing because some of the Cobra Kai members actually left and went to Miyagi Dojo. I already said that Hawk's friend left, but there was also some other members, and they kind of have like enemies for leaving as well. So yeah. I kind of missed out that part, and you can see them fighting their old friends. Yeah, the ex Cobra Kai members who joined Miyagi Dojo. But yeah, what else? I just don't know if I should talk about the escalation of things. When Torinoni she kind of put something on her wrist what's sharp to to basically scar Samantha, but then she eventually defeats Tori, and then with things with Miguel and Robbie. Oh god, that's when things just go too far. It was definitely cool. Like I definitely say it's a cool school fight. Like probably the best school fight we probably have ever seen in live action. No, because I can't think of like epic school fights like this. Like, just man, it was so well filmed. And seeing Paul, kind of wanting to be like a security for the school, and then you kind of see that he roughs up some of them, even though because he went to Cobra Kai to train, even though he wasn't supposed to be there because I think it's like for teenagers and stuff. But he still went and learned some moves. It was actually able to control the situation because no teacher wanted to get involved in that. But yeah, and I think this movie was kind of gone over 15 minutes, man. Because man, this show's really good, man. Might be I finally decided watching this because I took a long time to start watching it. But yeah. Oh, but yeah, the escalation of the Miguel and Robbie fight. So it gets to a point where Miguel has the chance to beat Robbie again, kind of like in the tournament. But he kind of learns because he kind of remembers a lesson from his sensei Johnny, because he does because Johnny well for Miguel Johnny means a lot to Miguel. Well, to each other really. It's kind of like the son that he never had. So he'll listen, Miguel will listen to anything that Johnny says. I mean, he decided to, show mercy this time because in season 1, he didn't show mercy to, Wabi. This time he wanted to, but then it kind of backfires. And then, Wabi kind of kicks him off the school stairs. Like, oh man, it was so messed up how it looked. It's like and then he hits his back on a rail. Oh, that was brutal, man. And then how the mother feels afterwards, and the whole situation's just messed up. And all these dojos are probably in big trouble from the school as well. Like Daniel, he just feels like he's let down Mr. Miyagi. Like, oh god, it's just a mess at the end. Yeah, it's a mess. I'm just hoping Miguel's all right. Like, are we gonna see him in season 3, but fighting, or is he gonna be like in a wheelchair or something? Man, that would suck. And I can't imagine how Miguel feels because we kind of see the mother's reaction. Because I kind of predicted how she was gonna act. Like she blames Johnny for getting him into this situation, and seeing that Miguel was getting closer to. I mean, sorry, Johnny was. Well, Miguel was becoming like a son to Johnny, and then Johnny, same. It's like the son that he never had, and then Johnny was also building a relationship with his mother. So it seems like there was going to be a family, but then this happens, and the mother doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and probably doesn't want Johnny to be around Miguel, So yeah, it's just kind of a mess at the end. And then at the end, we see John that is taken over Cobra Kai, and his whole students betrayed him. And if Miguel wasn't in that accident, I still think he would have been alongside Johnny. So yeah, maybe Miguel would have been able to keep some of them with Johnny, but yeah, Jesus, that was just messed up. And by the end, whew. But yeah, guys, I guess that's my review. So I guess I'll review part 3 either tomorrow or sometime next week, because I do plan to start season 3 at least on Monday to see how this continues on. But yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.